And I made the mistake of texting my husband from 500 miles away. And I said, I met this couple. I'm in love. We're going to be polyamorous. And he was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Welcome to Normalizing Non-Monogamy, the podcast where we interview incredible people from across the entire spectrum of non-monogamy to hear their fascinating stories. We strive to bring guests on the show who have a healthy approach to non-monogamy. However, it's important to remember that everyone does it a little bit differently, and the views and opinions expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect our own.
Additionally, we produce this show for entertainment purposes only. Please be aware that we aren't doctors or therapists. Consult a medical professional for anything regarding your health that you might learn about on the show. Enjoy!
Well, welcome to episode 261. We're Finn and Emma, and oh boy, are you in for a treat today. We have an amazing interview with Taylor, who describes herself as an erotic educator and sex goddess.
Yeah, she's also the founder of Organic Loven, and check the website out. It's amazing. Has so many amazing products and educational resources for you over there. And when Emma says you're in for it today, did that little soundbite at the beginning give you any flavor of what we're dealing with here? This is such a fun conversation. And Taylor is, she's owning life.
Yeah.
Nothing gets in her fucking way, and she's owning life. And so we're super grateful she reached out and came on and shared her story and is sharing organic lovin'.
Yeah.
With all of us.
Totally.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much, Taylor, for coming on. And we're going to be jumping into your interview now for anyone who is a premium subscriber. And for anyone who is not, you're going to be listening to a couple of quick announcements from our end before we jump into Taylor's interview. And
we promise to make them 75% as exciting as Taylor.
We'll do our best.
I'll do my best. Well, I'm about 20% as exciting as Taylor, and you bring the other 55.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
It's all in the smile.
It's all in the smile and in the laugh.
Well, I remember at one point, way back, you got voted best laugh of the non-monogamous podcaster world. I don't know how that happened.
Really? I had forgotten about that.
Yeah, I got you a medal. I made that last part up. I remember.
I do not remember a medal at all.
Maybe we just got an email. Maybe that's what it was.
I think
maybe one person voted for it and told us.
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Well, you got more votes than anybody else in our inbox.
True. I'll take it. Anyway.
A win is a win.
We are off topic here. So to sign up for the premium subscription, you can do so on our website, and you will skip this intro here with all of the ads up front. Don't worry, you still get the announcements at the end of the episode, but just skip the front. And it's a great way to support the show. If you are a community member, you get the premium subscription included in your membership.
Yeah, and to find that, you can go to our homepage. The way to sign up is right there for as little as $2 a year.
Yes.
If you're not interested in that, but you're really looking for that community, you can also join our online community of almost 300 amazing other amazing humans out there exploring non-monogamy in their own way. We do a monthly Q&A. We do a men's group. We do a women's group. We've actually introduced a weekly men's group for a little bit of extra cost. But for $5, you get pretty much everything we offer. And it's a really, really amazing way to find community. We just recently switched. We used to use Patreon, and we're now using a new platform called Mighty Networks. It's beautiful. It's glamorous. You want to check it out.
To find it, go to our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com, and click on the community tab. While you're there, you can also sign up for our next virtual meet and greet. These are open to anyone. You just have to be open-minded and respectful. It's a super fun way to spend your evening. We spend 2 hours together meeting and greeting a ton of different people. And the next one is coming up on November 30th.
I think the last one we did, my cheeks hurt from laughing.
I know. It was so much fun.
I have to do better cheek stretches. The last thing we didn't want to mention, we want to mention one other thing after it, so it's not the last thing.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Sometimes you just start talking and you got to see where the sentence goes.
Okay. Anyway, go for it.
On December 3rd, some former guests of ours and amazing humans, Rachel and Eric, are hosting an online workshop about intimacy and communication and so many other incredible things. Their qualifications are through the roof, and we're super excited to put this out there. Way back on episode 8 and episode 19, Rachel and Eric came on, both using pseudonyms, both with different partners.
Yep.
And I don't believe they're partnered. We don't even know the details of that. I don't know why I'm even talking about it at this point. The point is, they're going to tell you right here a little bit more about that. And then we hope you go to the website, our website, and click on the links to sign up. Use the discount code Emma to save a couple of bucks and go support their work. It's incredible work, and we encourage you to do so.
Have you ever felt your sexuality was misunderstood by a partner? Would you like to be able to talk more openly about your turn-ons and your turn-offs?
Are you an asker or a guesser? How about in the bedroom? If any of these questions are intriguing, you'll likely be interested in our next intimacy workshop on Saturday, December 3rd from 9 a.m. to noon.
This online event is open to individuals, couples, thruples, and more. We hope to see you there.
A quick reminder to sign up for the intimacy workshop on our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com, and use the discount code Emma for a few bucks off.
And we'll see you there.
Yes.
We're planning to be there.
We are.
We are. The other thing we wanted to remind you, stdcheck.com, our favorite affiliate partner, and in our opinion, the best way to get tested for STIs. It's $129 when you use the discount code on our website under the resources tab or in your podcast player show notes. You save $10 and it helps support the show financially, and we are eternally grateful to you for doing that. Again, this is the way Emma and I have been getting tested for years, as well as so many others of you out there. So thank you to all of you who have done that in the past, and thank you to all of you who go and do that in the future. And thank you all for being awesome sexual health advocates.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. A quick reminder to go to our website and you can reach out to us, send us a voicemail, send us an email if you would like to be on a guest on the podcast, or if you have any questions, comments for us, we'd love to hear from you. And with that, buckle up, get ready.
Buckle up, lube up.
Lube up.
Lube up. There's another announcement.
Amazing conversation with Taylor, unless Finn has another announcement.
There's some dogs that make their presence known. Oh, right.
Yes. There are dogs in this interview.
They're not too distracting, and they go away for a good chunk of it, but they bark up here and there. And there was no way to get rid of them or edit it out. So enjoy
the ambiance of the dogs.
They were beautiful puppers. All right.
Okay, now we're ready to go talk to Taylor. Welcome, Taylor, to the podcast. We're so excited to talk to you today, and I'm sure this is going to be a lively conversation. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited, and I love lively conversations.
Well, I know I tend to bring a little bit of monotony, but the two of you, I think, have it covered on the enthusiasm.
We'll try. We'd love for you to start by just introducing yourself.
Okay, I am Taylor Sparks, and I am an erotic educator and sex goddess for organicloven.com. Originally from Boston, currently living in my 7th state, as I just recently moved to Mexico. So, polysingle, solo poly, I should say, polysingle, solo poly, 2 grown children, 2 dogs. I'm African American.
Perfect. The dogs may make an appearance. We'll see.
Well, congrats. Yeah, congrats on the big move. And I guess maybe, I don't know, take us back to the beginning, wherever the beginning is that you wound up down this path of solo poly or non-monogamy in general. Where did this come into your life for the first time?
Well, my now former husband and I, we were married 25 years, but about 12 years in, we had transitioned from Boston down to North Carolina, and it was a tough transition moving from state to state. Had some bumps in the road, and then finally got back on our feet. And I wanted us to go away together without the kids. We hadn't been away more than 5 years without the children. And I said, we need to go somewhere. And I found this adult group that was going to Hedonism in Jamaica. And I've always heard about it and hadn't been able to afford it prior. And I'm like, we have money now. We should go together. We should, reconnect as a couple. And he's like, we're not going there. We're not those people. I'm like, I know we're not those people, but I want to go someplace where I could have sex with my husband on the beach and no one go, But instead of go, all right, we give that a 9. Yes, get her, Even if we didn't, I just wanted to be in that atmosphere. So we literally argued about it for about 3 months because he's like, we are not going. And I said, well, you know what? Don't act like I don't have access to my own money because I work too. So if you're worried about what's going to happen to me with you there, how are you going to feel when I leave your ass right here in North Carolina with these kids? And I called the travel agency and I booked, put my deposit down and told her to get me a roommate. Well, his passport came in the day before the trip because he quickly changed his mind. And he was like, no, it's okay. We're going, but I'm not going to stay on the nude side. And for those of you who don't know, hedonism has a nude side and a prude side. And I said, no worries. So we get there and we end up on the nude side with the room anyway. And I'm like, don't worry, we can just leave. Don't even unpack. And the bellman opened up the curtain. We were on the beach and there were 2 beautiful Black women laid out there naked as the day they were born. He was like, I think I'm going to be okay. I think I'm going to be okay. I'm like, no, I'm going to be okay. I'm all right. I'm just not going to get naked. So he went from not going to going but not being on the nude side to get naked and then never wanting to leave the nude side to go to the rest of the place. And we had the best time ever. And we reconnected and we bonded, but we had decided that we would not be swingers. We met some swingers. I had lots of questions. We were like, we're not doing this. But what happened was when we got home, I decided to Google benefits of an open marriage. And I found an article that was written by a husband who talked about the differences in him and his wife's sexual desires. And I had my husband read it. And I said, I think we should open our marriage. So it was my idea to open up our marriage. And we set out all of our rules and boundaries and decided that we were going to give it a shot. And we had a lot of fucking boundaries. I mean, nobody in the whole state of North Carolina, no friends, no family, no coworkers, no hotel people. I mean, like the whole state of North Carolina was off limits. By the time we were 13 years in, it was our only boundaries were like no children and no animals. And so that's how that started.
I love the
progression,
the progression, the path, right? And I think it's so common that people start because it's scary, right? And if you're going into something scary, if you can create a framework that makes you feel comfortable, then maybe you can try it. And then as you try it in that framework, you realize like, well, okay, this North Carolina rule is a little easy. Let's let that one go and let's let the next one, because you start to reassure yourself that like, I can do it with all of the safety equipment on. What happens if we take away the knee pads? What happens if we take away the elbow pads, right? And can we still do this in a safe way? And I love that you took that progression over 13 years, but I
want to have you continue, but I just want to clarify. So you were with your husband or former husband for 12 years first in a monogamous relationship and then 13 years in an open relationship.
Right. So, and we were ethically monogamous. We didn't have any issues of cheating or, infidelity or any of those things. And it was fine. It wasn't like anything was missing or anything. It's just like, well, is this something we want to give a try to? Let's see how it works. Because if it don't work, if we don't like it, we can always back off. So what we discovered, though, when you talk about letting go of the, as you go through the progression, what you start to understand, or at least what we started to understand was, no one's going to steal anybody away, right? And this is the biggest fear I think couples have or individuals have. It's like, what if my partner falls in love with somebody else and leaves me? And I came to realize that nobody can steal somebody that doesn't want to go. And you can't make somebody stay that's ready to leave. There's literally nothing you can do about it. Absolutely nothing you can do about it. Because if they want to go, they're going to go, whether they are monogamous or whether they are non-monogamous. So one of the things we realized about as we were progressing through and dealing with our own insecurities about whether somebody is going to steal your partner away or they're going to fall in love with someone and leave you, is that no one can steal somebody that does not want to go. And you cannot make someone stay that is ready to leave. We all know of men and or women who've had mistresses or side dudes for 10 years. And they're like, leave your wife. And they're like, I'm not leaving. And they won't because they don't want to go. And we know people, we've heard of women or men who have left when the woman's 9 months pregnant. Because if they're going to go, they're going to go. There's absolutely nothing that we can do about it. And I would rather somebody leave who wishes to leave than to be here with me, just to be hanging in there for the sake of hanging in there. So as you go through this being more secure within yourself, you start to realize that the insecurity is about somebody running away, or I don't want to say baseless, but it's okay. You start to live with the fact that if they think that they can do better, or they want better, or they want different, it might not even be better. They might want something different, that it's better to be like, let's just part ways and you do you and I'll do me. And it was great while it lasted. I think people are in your lives for a season or a reason or a lifetime.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I think to your point, if somebody wants to be with you, they'll be with you. And the way you said it was just perfectly said. Like your examples of somebody who's been in a 10-year affair and didn't leave. It's not that they wanted to leave the person that they were cheating on. They were interested in something else and being married, and it was a both and. Mm-hmm. Versus you could say, well, I don't even have another person that I'm looking to leave you for, but like, I can't be in this relationship anymore. And regardless of what else is quote unquote out there. Like it's a very personal thing. Like if you want your partners to be the happiest they can be, that might mean them not being your partner in that same capacity.
Yeah. And I think that's scary. Monogamy can make us fearful of being alone, of dying alone, that whole death do us part thing, and there have been some relationship gurus recently that have just been bombarding social media in the last couple of years about women getting older. I mean, there's always been a thing about women getting older, right? Not having a partner, but women getting older. And if you're not married by the time you're 30, you just might as well get some cats because you're going to die alone. And I'm like, well, we all die alone. I mean, if we don't go down in the same plane, fuck, we all die alone. We all die alone. You know what I mean? If we're not in the same car accident at the same time, we're all dying alone. So to put that fear in somebody that you have to stay with this one person because Lord forbid, if you don't find nobody else, like there's 7 billion people on the planet. How are you not going to find somebody else? They're everywhere. There are people everywhere. Right. Absolutely everywhere.
Yeah. Well, so thank you. And so backing up, so you come home from Hedo. Your husband at the time had an awakening.
Oh yeah.
At Hedo.
And a blowjob from a girl that I was like, would you mind giving my husband a blowjob out by the jacuzzi? Because he's been such a good man and I think he deserves a blowjob. And she was like, sure. I'm like, and then I told her, he was like, wait, what? Are you sure? He was so happy. That's the kind of woman I am. I make sure my men are happy.
So he had a change of heart along the way.
Oh, man.
How when you two came back and you brought up non-monogamy, what did that look like for you two? As you said, you started with rules on rules on rules, but what did it like? How did that progression go for the next 12 or 13 years together? I mean, you don't have to go into all of it, but just like kind of high level, how did it look?
We started open, meaning that we weren't swinging. We did everything separately. We both traveled for work. And so we kind of set up the boundaries, like, as I said, like no family, no close friends, no hotel workers. We didn't want to get anybody fired. And, I ended up calling an ex-boyfriend who lived up in Virginia, who lived in DC. I'm like, you want to meet me in Virginia and have sex? He was without a breath. He was like, yep. And so I drove up and he drove down and we had lunch and we had sex. And it was the first time I had sex with somebody else in 12 years. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I want to do this forever. And my husband was like, are you okay? I'm like, you should try it. It's really good. So there used to be a site called the Black Swingers Club. So we got on there and got a profile, and he used to travel for his job. And I started looking for girls for him that he could play with separately. And then eventually, we kind of backed into the swinging. If you, I don't know if you guys have ever swung, but at some point you meet a couple and they just say the right thing. They got the right look, the right body, and you're like, we're in. So that's how we kind of got into the swinging thing. But the good thing about it is because we had did everything separately initially, we hadn't, if there wasn't a two-way match, I was very fine with him going off to have sex with somebody separately and vice versa, because we had already done that first. So we then started doing things together. And then we did that for some years. And then we started doing our own events. We had a group called Grown and Sexy Crew, and we started producing our own events, and Hedo and Desire. And then we met the couple that owned luxury lifestyle vacation clubs and became part of their team and started traveling the world with them. So then I started working in the industry, right? As a event producer, co-sponsor, yada, yada. And so we were still playing together, playing separate. And it was a good time. We never really had any real challenges in the swinger community. A couple of times he crossed the boundary with time, supposed to only be in there for an hour. I don't know who came up with this rule for an hour, but like, if you can't get it done in an hour, you need to fuck out of there, And then we were, I don't know where we got these rules from, but we made them up in our head, but it worked for us. That was our safety net. And then I was hosting an event for one of the groups, and he wasn't with me. He had to work, so I was in Hedo alone. And I met this couple, and they introduced me to poly and kink at the same time. And I was like the child that stood at the edge of the pool with their arms outstretched and fell backwards into the water, the deep end. I'm like, yes, this is my thing. I am poly. Oh my God. No wonder I'm not fucking all these people as much as I'd like to. There was no connection. I think this is it. I did swing with that couple, and they did things to me that I'm sure is illegal in at least 3 states, but it was good. It was really fun. And I started dating. I'm not even bi, but I'm like, I don't care. Let's do it. And it was a good time. The memories. Okay, I'm back now. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Little trip down memory lane.
Yeah, I dated him for a while, so that was fun. But they were also poly coaches. So I am the person that when I find something new, I get every book, I look at every article, I look at every every video. And I made the mistake of texting my husband from 500 miles away. And I said, I met this couple. I'm in love. We're going to be polyamorous. And he was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Poly, what? What is that? We don't even use the word love. We're swingers. Who are these people? And I sent him a picture. He's like, since when are you fucking white guys? You don't even like white guys. He's not white. He's mulatto. He's part black. He looks white to me. He's got blue eyes and blonde hair. That's besides the point, I said. So that transition was difficult because that is not the correct way to introduce poly to your partner from 500 miles away with 2 people you've been fucking for a whole weekend.
No.
Valid point.
Not recommended.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
So where did that take you to from there? I assume that's one of your first, let's say, major bumps that you hit.
Oh, it was the bumpiest of bumps. Because, by the time I got home, I had ordered more than 2, and I was devouring that book. I was looking, literally just everything. I was in. And it was like a 2-year transition because it was very difficult for him to understand. I'm like, I'm going to be poly, and you should be poly. You should get a girlfriend. He's like, I don't want a girlfriend. I'm going to get my pussy and come home. I don't want to date. I'm like, I want to date. I want a boyfriend. No, wait, I want 3 boyfriends and a dom. No, I am a dom. Shit. I'm dominant and I'm a switch. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to get a dom. I'm going to get 3 boyfriends. And he's like, I don't want none of that. And I said, you know what the best thing about being poly? We're not attached at the hip. You don't have to do any of this shit, but I'm gonna let you know what I'm doing. And this is what I'm about to do. So it was a difficult 2 years because I did what I wanted to do, meaning that I was always respectful. I always said where I was and who I was doing it with. And I told him everything because I've never been one to lie because I don't remember shit. So I just always tell the truth and then just have the argument because I don't remember if I lie. And so he read the books. He looked at, everything I recommended. He actually talked to the coaches and he came to an understanding that he himself was not polyamorous. And he came to an understanding that his wife was. And when it took literally almost 2 years for him to be like, okay, but he was interested in the kink side. So we kind of did that together and we still did the swinging together and we still did the swinging separately. But he came to understand that he just didn't want to date. It just was not it. He said, you are more than enough for me emotionally. I can't do another woman. It's too much. I just can't. And I said, we don't have to do the same thing. We'll be a poly swinging couple. And so, but yeah, it took a couple of years for us to settle into something. Cause by then, I had a boyfriend and then eventually 2 boyfriends. And then eventually I had 3 boyfriends and a husband. And that was so good.
I love it. I love that the like, this is what, and again, not to say it was like you did it the right way, but like you made shit happen for yourself. And I think that's amazing. And that he went along with that as best he could for as long as he could. And it sounds like you two went on a journey for a couple of years together of how can we both get our individual needs met and stay together,
right?
And try to make this work. Like, can we find a dynamic that works for us?
Right. And eventually we found a dynamic that worked for us. So the least of our problems was having the relationship be open, and, when people find out that after 25, because we were open for 13 years, that part worked well for us. It was the regular stuff, money, children, where you're going to live, kids, college, regular day-to-day life that I don't want to say did us in because we did in. I don't feel as though our marriage was a failure. I think it did really well. But at the end of the day, the last couple of years, we realized that we just no longer were kicking the can down the same road. We just didn't want the same things. And I'm like, you should have a woman who wants to be here with you that wants what you want. And I'm going to go out in the world and, which is what I want to do is, have sex, eat and travel the fucking world. And he was like, not so much. So I'm like, well, you should be able to have the woman that wants to kind of sit here with you and do what you do. So I'm going to go. So I left.
Yeah.
Peacefully. It wasn't this big, it wasn't this craziness. It was a peaceful, departing and we're good, but people in the monogamous side would like to say, oh, it's because you open your relationship. I'm like, no.
Right.
It wasn't the opening. That part worked really well for us, actually. So
even with all the bumps. Right.
Yeah. And then, based on, like I said, I started working in the industry and I talked to a lot of couples and individuals, and we didn't have a tenth of what some people have gone through because from the very beginning, the very first agreement we had when we decided to open our relationship was that we will discuss everything, good, bad, or indifferent, and figure out how do we come to some conclusion. So, sometimes we would be discussing shit for days and weeks to getting to a conclusion. But that was one thing we did well was, okay, so listen, this is how, I'm feeling. And I tell a lot of people, when you're going through these stages of figuring each other out and bringing other people in, that just because you have an emotion doesn't mean you have to act upon it right then and there. Do a gut check. And, question yourself as to why you feel elated, sad, uncomfortable. Do you need a nap? Maybe, maybe you're horny, maybe you're hungry, don't just jump on the bandwagon because you feel a certain emotion. And being open, being poly, being a swinger, even being kinky, it pushes you to be authentically honest. If you care about your partner and yourself, some of the conversations you have are not pleasant for one party or the other. When you're like, listen, I know I've never spent the night out. For example, I know I've never spent the night out before, and it's been 14 years we've been together, but I want to go sleep. I want to go spend the night with her or him.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you want to spend the night? And I've had that happen with my boyfriends and the ones who had wives. It was a challenge for the wife. And we've had the conversation, and I've said to one wife, so what is it about us spending the night? Not that there was any hurry, like whenever you're comfortable with it. What is it about spending the night that makes you feel what? And one wife was like, well, I just think it's very intimate. I'm like, we're fucking, right? Yeah. He eats my pussy, right? Yeah. That's intimate. We're just sleeping. It's just sleep. Eating pussy, sucking dick, that's intimate. Okay. But it's sleep. He's drooling, I'm drooling, we're snoring. It's sleep.
Well, I think what's so interesting is it brings up the fact that what is intimate to you may not be to somebody else, and what's intimate to somebody else may not be to you.
Yes.
And I think the other thing too that you touched on in there, which was a really impressive thing to be able to do, is to step back and look at your relationship with any partner, but in this case you did it with your husband, and say, look, you want these things and I want these things. Our wants don't line up. And it's really easy to say, well, damn it, we've been doing this for 25 years and we've arrived in a place where we're not the same people we were 25 years ago.
Exactly.
And you want Mexican food, I want pizza, and we're not going to align on that. So we could both give up the things we want and give up pieces of ourselves and try to meet in the middle. Mm-hmm. But you're not going to ever be fulfilled because you're going to be wanting to go jet setting all over the world, and maybe he'll go along, but he's not going to have the fun that you're going to have, and you're going to always probably feel shitty that you're dragging him out to go do something, and then when you're sitting at home with him, he's feeling bad that you want to be out exploring, and you're sitting at home with him watching the fire because that's where he wants to be, and so it's really hard to say, like, well, we had a beautiful run, and now we're just not the same two people. And to say, that's okay. You go live your best life. I'm going to go live mine. Like, there's a lot of sunk costs in there that you can, to just say, like, we just aren't anymore. Right. And that's so hard to do.
It is, but it's understanding that there's nothing wrong with a couple that one person wants to do one thing and the other person doesn't want to do something, right?
Absolutely.
It is totally fine if the partner who wants to stay home is like, babe, go travel. Hey, listen, you need any money, honey? I'll be here when you get back. And they are totally fine with you traipsing throughout the world. They don't want to travel, and they don't feel any kind of way that you do. It's another thing when you go travel and your partner goes, it's fine, but when you come home, it's a fight. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you have no peace. So peace is essential at home and in one's relationship. So it's not like two opposites can't do different things. You can, as long as both people accept the other person for who they are and what they like to do, and vice versa. Yeah. So the one who travels can't be coming home saying, you know what, it gets on my nerves because you're never with me and you never travel, you're just a bump on the lot. That's not good either way, So it's important to respect each other for who they are and to have peace with it. But if you cannot have peace with it, then and if you're so misaligned that it is causing stress in the relationship, then it is maybe time to go, we either try therapy or, to see if we can get in something. We did several years. We did a few years, not several years. We did a few years of therapy, even a therapist that specializes in ethical non-monogamy, because the other therapists were like, one therapist said, well, if we can get the communication part together, are you going to stop fucking other men? We were like, whoa, wait a minute. Don't overstep your boundaries, girl. We not had a problem with that. Don't start causing problems. That part works just fine. Nobody's going to stop fucking extra people. He's still fucking other women. I'm still fucking other men. So we didn't come here for that. We came here for our communication challenges, So yeah, that part was good.
Yeah. And you make such a great point. You can say, well, yeah, I support you. Have a great trip Taylor. And then the whole time you're gone, he's, stewing, seething, becoming more resentful, and vice versa, right? He's sitting at home and you're sitting at home with him and you're like, damn it, I don't want to be sitting here. Oh, but I'm good. I really enjoy sitting here all night with you. And you're like, yeah, I did for a week and then 2. And now I'm pretty sick of it and I want to go do something. And so you're both building that secret resentment.
Yes.
And it comes out in a fight later where you're like, oh, well, all you want to do is sit at home. And he's like, well, all you want to do is travel. And then you're, and because neither of you were really, because you weren't being yourself and he wasn't being his. Or when you are, it's not really okay. It's like kind of okay as long as you do it the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but there's 7 billion people on this planet.
Well, it just goes back to being true to yourself, but also respectful of your partner. And so because on the flip side, if one person wanted to go out and travel a lot, but wasn't able to say that, then they're just going to go grow resentment as well. Yeah. So you need to be able to talk about the things that you both want and figure out either ways to help each other make those things come true and your well-being in the relationship, or recognize that the relationship just isn't going to work anymore. Yeah. And it's hard. It's not easy.
It's not, when people talk about being their authentic selves, and like, what does that mean? It means having really hard conversations, not even, splitting up per se, but just having, tough conversations. And talking about the whole spending the night thing, one of the guys I had, when we finally got around to dating locally, years later, I found me a local boyfriend, and him and his wife had been open for 18 years, but he had never spent the night out. And I said to him, well, if we're going to keep doing this dating thing, I would love it if we could, spend the night together. And he's like, oh, I've never spent the night out. And I'm like, why? He goes, never really wanted to. I'm like, okay, well, no big deal, no rush. And as time went on, it came up again, and he said he said, I talked to my wife and I told her, and she was like, cool with it. I'm like, because it was a party or something coming up we were going to be going to. And I'm like, what did you say exactly? He said, I told her that we were going to a swing party together and that the party was going to run late because the party was like in between the two cities we lived in, and that the party was going to be late and that everybody was going to go to the hotel and I wouldn't get home till morning. I'm like, that's not what's happening. Yeah, we are going to the party and it probably will be running late. And I don't know if we're going to invite anybody back to our hotel room, but you and I are going to the hotel room and then you'll go home in the morning. So you need to talk to her and tell her the truth. And, don't
explicitly.
Yeah, you need to be honest with her. Not that he lied, but he kind of skirted around the reality of it all. So anyway, he went back to her. He said, yeah, I talked to her. What did you say exactly? And then he was like, well, Mariposa, my nickname is Mariposa. She's a very dominant woman and she's going to get the things she wants. And we're going to be traveling with her and her husband soon. So, you need to kind of, get over this thing. And because she wants me to spend the night. I'm like, whoa, wait a fucking minute. That's not how this is happening. This is not, no. I said, first of all, this is not about me being dominant. And why would you say that to her? Because now you're going to mess with the relationship between her and I, because she's going to be wondering, well, who's this woman that you can't say no to? That you've been only dating for a few months, 6 months or something. And second of all, she's not a delicate flower. You need to say to her, babe, Mariposa and I are going to the party and I want to spend the night with her. And then so that she could deal with her emotions and you could have the talk as to whether she's ready, not ready, or whatever she's feeling. Or you say to me, Mariposa, I'm going to the party, but I don't want to spend the night with you. And then I get to deal with my emotions. You see? But you need to be a big boy and fucking have a conversation with somebody. So he went back to her and she was like, I'm not ready. So we didn't spend the night. See how easy that was? Just making it more difficult.
I love that. The difference between, oh yeah, we're all going to be at this hotel and we, oh, look at that. We happened to fall asleep together. And it's like, yeah, if you want it, ask for it. If you don't want it, don't ask for it, but don't tell me you want it and then not go like, that's the whole, I'm trying to play both sides and maybe if I do it this way, I'll keep Taylor happy. If I do it this way, I'll keep my wife happy. And maybe the two will never find out. And I can just kind of give them both what they need to hear.
Right.
But you caught it in the middle.
Well, yeah, because it's like I said, I want somebody who wants what I want. Right. If you don't want to spend a night with me, just say, babe, my wife's not ready. This is not the time. Okay. The end of story. It's not a why and how come and why can't she get over it? No, end of story. But you need to tell me and or her the truth. We're all adults. Tell the truth. So then we can just have the conversation and be done with it. You see? So he learned his ways and he got better, but there was still a few more things. And I'm like, no, go back and have another conversation with your wife. That's not, but he got good at it because eventually when we did spend the night, he came to work with me at an event and he said to her, I'm going to go to wherever I don't know what state we're in. I'm going with her. I haven't seen her in over a year because I had moved. And he said, I'm going to go spend the night. And she was like, are you going to be in separate rooms? He was like, no, we're not going to. I am fucking her when I get there as soon as I can. We are not going to be in separate rooms and we are sleeping in the same bed. I'm like, how was she? She okay? He said, yeah, she's okay. She's a little nervous, but she's okay. So,
because she knows the truth at that point. It's not some spun up version of this other woman's making my husband do things that he doesn't want to do. And now she's controlling him. It's like, no, he actually wants it. He's asking for what he wants. And now I know what the hell's actually going on.
Yeah. And it just, because then you can have the tough conversation about how you feel, right? I'm not ready, or I feel insecure, or I'm going to feel like, what if you fall in love with her and never come back? And I do a course, I teach a course on jealousy, and I've never in the 25 years had a jealous moment with my husband. I'm like, you're going to go fuck Becky? Go ahead, have some fun. You need some condoms, some lube? You want to spend the night? Go. I didn't get jealous until I moved from North Carolina to Florida, and I introduced a sex goddess friend of mine to my boyfriend, who was still in North Carolina, because I thought they would be good sexually together. And when I found out they had set the date, I was spinning like crazy. And I didn't tell him until months later because, I'm just like, I'm not telling him I was jealous. And I told her too. They were like, yeah. He was like, you were jealous? Aw, baby. But I didn't tell him. I just dealt with it on my own. Like, this is stupid. Why are you jealous? He's going to fall in love with her. He's going to leave his wife for her. She's stunningly gorgeous. I could see why. He didn't. He's still mine.
But the fact that came up for you, it just shows that, you had not experienced that in 25 years. And then that came up for you out of the blue. And it just shows that those emotions can come up and you're like, we could all be like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, what is happening? And then how to navigate through that. Like, you chose to deal with it on your own. It also would have been totally fine to approach each of them and just say, hey, don't change anything. I'm telling you what
no
I'm
way
feeling.
I was telling them that the sex goddess, was jealous. There was no way in God's green earth. I mean, I just sat up because he was like, I'm on my way to her house. I'm like, okay, have fun, honey. Just call me when when you're on your way home, because I just want to hear everything that happened and how you, because I'm that perverted that way. I'd love to hear the stories. I want to hear every detail, that she sucked your dick, everything. I want to hear everything. He left the house at 6. He did not call me at 7, at 8, at 9, at 10. Oh my God, he's going to fuck her all night at 12. Quarter to 1, I finally went to bed, laying there, and my phone went bing. I jumped up out of the bed. Hey, and I called, hey, babe. No, I was just dozing off. I was watching a movie.
Well, I want to say too, one thing I love about one thing I love about it though, Taylor, is you can simultaneously operate with the mindset that if this person would be happier with this other person and not me, I want them to go, right? That's basically what you and your husband decided. And that was the conversation we had 10 minutes ago about if somebody's truly better off or truly wants something, then they will go for that. So you can live with that mindset and still freak the fuck out when your partner is off doing the thing that might cause them to quote unquote leave you for somebody else, even though you have that mindset of, well, they would be better off and they would be happier and I want them to be happy, but what the fuck is happening? Why are they going and doing this to me? Like both of those things can live in the same brain at the same time, and it's a messed up thing.
Yeah, because you have your logical brain, and then you have your emotional side, like what the fuck and why and how and who do you think you are? And just because her tits are bigger and her ass is plumpier, I don't care, and she can salsa dance and what the. And of course, she was totally opposite of me, right? She was he's black, and she was blonde and blue-eyed, and she could salsa dance, and she had a better butt than me. And I'm like, and I can't believe, and she is my dearest girlfriend, always has been, is to this day. But I told them both eventually, like months and months later. And my boyfriend was just like, aw, nobody could ever replace you. I know, but still.
I love it. I love the honesty around it.
Yeah, me too. And I guess I want to know where do you consider yourself, like where are you now in your relationships, if you don't mind?
Because I'm solo poly. COVID kind of I left my husband in the middle of COVID. COVID kind of just took a toll on everybody's relationship. I didn't leave because of COVID or because we were home together. It just coincided with, it was time. And then my long-term poly boyfriend I had in Florida, once I moved down, he opened a restaurant. And so we just kind of faded apart because he was so busy. And then my other boyfriend in North Carolina, he's still there. But I still say solo poly because we don't really, they all still say I'm their girlfriends. We just don't have sex anymore. But I'm looking. So if anyone knows a man that's looking for a smart, intelligent, highly sexual woman who doesn't get jealous until you fuck her girlfriend, that doesn't get jealous, that she's going to set you up with, because I love to share, right? And that's into a little kink, who's older than she looks, and he can be younger. He has to have a passport, a valid passport, and he's going to need some money because I travel a lot, and he's going to need to meet me all over the world. So there, I'm available, is what I'm saying.
So the bar's low,
huh?
I said, so the bar's real low.
Listen, no. I'm not saying all of these things have to be in this. I'm poly, so all these things don't have to be in the same person.
Right.
Yeah, no. Perfect. I could have one guy who's like, hey, listen, can't do a whole lot of sex, but I do have a valid passport and some cash, and I love to travel. Let's go. I'm looking for. Listen, I don't have a passport, but I love to cuddle, and I live nearby. Come over. It's okay. Everybody's got a spot. I got a spot for everybody. So it doesn't all have to be one guy. It could be, I need cuddle buddies. I need travel buddies. I need friends with benefits, and I need lovers.
And they must love dogs. I feel like that is is that a requirement?
Yes and no, because my dogs don't really like anybody on purpose. So usually, if I have company and the dogs are put away, I don't want them to like anybody, because if this man turns out to be crazy, guess who's going to let the dogs out? But they could like dogs. They could like dogs, but they won't be making friends with my dogs no time soon. They gotta pass my test first before you get to meet my dogs. My dogs, they're not meant to like you right away. There
you go. Well, so it does Emma's question kind of leads into a similar question of when you described when you started down this poly route and you thought, like, I want 3 boyfriends and a dom and a husband and a pool boy. Like you had your list of things that you wanted. I made up pool boy.
Thank you. I'm like, did I say pool boy?
I made up pool boy and mechanic. But anyway, the point would be, you had a list of things, people that you wanted in your life.
Yes.
Is there a current list of like Taylor's poly utopia?
Yes, 3 boyfriends.
3 boyfriends.
Yeah, I don't think
Got
I'd
it.
ever get. I don't think I'd ever get married again. I don't really see the purpose of not having children. We can share our life and property and things together without being. But I'll do a commitment ceremony. We can stand in front of the tree and go, "I commit to you," and I commit to you. We're committed. So I would love a life partner or 3. They could have more children. If you wanted my other boyfriend who turned out to be crazy, I'm like, you can have all the children you want, because he was much younger. I'm like, I'm not, he was like, we could be in the Guinness's World Book of Records. You could be like one of the oldest women. I'm like, I don't want to be an old woman with kids. No, thank you. I don't want to be in the Guinness's World Book of Records. Go have babies with somebody else. I was totally fine. We just
I already did that. Been there, done that.
Girl, been there, done that. But what about grandchildren? They ain't gonna be my kids. I raised mine. You better raise yours. Mama going to Italy. See ya.
I love it. Well, I had another question around. I mean, let's say you clearly have a lot of sex. It seems with
not
more
enough.
than a few people. Not enough. Okay.
No, I'm looking for all new people in Cancun.
I gotcha. Well, how do you keep yourself safe? Not just sexually, but physically, as you're traveling the world as a solo person, like keeping yourself safe when you're meeting people, making sure you're in situations that are good for you and healthy for you.
Dogs.
And the dogs. Well, they don't go on every trip, but I assume they don't double as condoms. That would be a weird way.
Oh my gosh. Well, as a person who owns a sex toy company, yes, I have not only lots of protective things like condoms, but the best condoms, the best lube. When I was more active than I currently am, because I'm in Cancun without lovers at the moment, but they're all booking flights soon. Testing regularly. I always tested, and it was so weird because when we first opened our marriage, you go for your annual checkup, and then I was in there and when we started, we, like a lot of people, we only kind of played like once a year or twice a year when we went on vacation, because couldn't do shit at home, right? So I started going back to my doctor, getting like once in 6 months, once a quarter, depending on how the year went, to get a full panel STD check, even though I use condoms 110% of the times. But I'm like, bodily fluids, is oral sex happening, that kind of thing. And eventually I just told her, because I didn't want her to think that either I was cheating on my husband or my husband was cheating on me. I would rather just say we have an agreement than to think, I don't want someone feeling sorry for me or feeling sorry for him, So I told her, I said, yeah, we have an open marriage. I just want to be safe and make sure I'm good, because it's a responsible thing to do, as a swinger. And she was like, oh, it's no problem. And she wrote something in my chart, like, multiple partners or something. I said, just write slut. Why don't you? Just say slut. She said, no, it's totally fine. So I think testing is required. And once I started working in the industry, as a sex educator, I found I ended up having far less sex because I was there, as the slang saying is, to get my bag, meaning I was there to make my money. So I thought it was best not to keep that line of discretion between the clients and I. So now I'm having less sex. So another reason why the boyfriends need to travel with me, so I could get my sex in to de-stress me while I'm working. So yeah, and even with my partners, they were good at testing. And you really I think anybody who wants to open their relationship with a partner as solo, you really have to ask the questions. When's the last time you've been tested? Do you have a copy of it? And the guys who were my men, who I call as boyfriends, have always like, babe, you got tested recently? Within 2 seconds, the test would come over and text. Yep, here are my results. I'm good. Even though we still use condoms, So, and I did have one boyfriend who hated condoms. And with his other 4 women, he did not use condoms. I'm like, I don't know these chicks. I don't know who else they're fucking. And it's fucking without condoms. So and he never pressured me. And so we used condoms for the 4 or 5 years that we were together. Yeah. So Yeah, but I'm
I
not
love that.
always. I'm not like alone. I'm traveling with groups. I'm presenting on lifestyle cruises, conferences. I have a team of people that work with me, and I'm not just disappearing like off the boat in the middle of the night with some, with the pool boy from the ship.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
People know where you're at.
Yeah.
people know where I am, and I've been in the industry now. My business will be 9 years that the Organic Loveness business is around. And then a few years before that, I had grown in Sexy Cruise. So people know me, at least in the industry. The regular people may not know me, but in the lifestyle industry, people know who I am. So it's not like they're like, oh, which is weird. I'm not like a celebrity or anything like that, but just people who travel with me know me. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to circle back and talk a bit more about Organic Loven, but I did have another thought or a question around when you sort of had the epiphany that polyamory is more up your alley. You said something to the effect of like, now I understand why I wasn't fucking these people more, because there wasn't a connection.
Mm-hmm.
So how has that evolved for you over time, or has it that like you still are seeking out partners who you have a deeper connection with before you form the sexual side? Or has that evolved to be like, the more casual approach, it actually works for me now as who I am today, 20 some years later?
I am that multifaceted person who is literally open, swinging, poly, kinky. And when I say a connection, it doesn't have to be deep. Make me laugh a few times. Oh, it's on. But it's just not like, hi. I couldn't just like run into somebody at the playroom and then just fuck them. I want that level of freedom sometimes. Like, I just want to be able to just like, you want to fuck me? Come on then, let's do it. But that I usually need some conversation at least. We don't have to decide to date afterwards, but I just need a little bit more of a connection. I need to know like, so, how do you play and how did you get into the lifestyle and how long have you been doing this? And have you ever had sex with a Black woman before? Yeah. So sometimes when I go to, events, I'm one of the few Black women at these events, and they're in Europe or South America. And sometimes, I get fetishized. And I get this, the guy comes to me and he goes, I've never had sex with a Black woman before. And I'm like, do you see fantasy fulfiller written across my goddamn forehead? I am not the one. And so that's not a turn on for me. For some people, it is a turn on. Me personally, it is not. Now, have I had sex with a guy that I've had conversation with for 2 or 3 days and then find out that I was the first Black woman he's been with? I'm like, yay, I'm your first. That's a whole different connection than someone that's just looking to put a notch in their belt. So I've been for like I've been, identified as everything, probably for about 7 or 8 years when I'm like, I'm open, I'm swinging, I'm poly, I'm kinky, I'm all of that. And once I evolved into poly, so to speak, and realizing that I really like boyfriends and I like the dating. I love the dating part, I love the NRE. Oh my God. The new relationship energy is just like, he called. Oh, he thinks I'm cute. So I like all of that. But I also like hey, you're hot. What you doing later? I'm about to do you. What you doing? Sometimes that's fun too. So I like that I can kind of flex back and forth or in and out or up and down, round and round, Sorry, I just couldn't stop myself.
I love it.
I like that I could, that I'm not stuck in a box, Yeah. So
Yeah.
it works for me.
Well, yeah. Well, I think that too plays into we're all these fluid people, and what you wanted today isn't what you wanted 10 years ago, and probably isn't going to be what you want in 10 years from today. So we're always growing and changing and figuring out who we are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'd love for you to, before we wrap up, we'd love for you to talk a little bit about your company and the work that you do.
Yeah. So Organic Loven, Loven.com. So we specialize in improving adult sexual health and wellness, and enhancing their sex lives through our organic intimate body products, body safe sex toys, sex positive books, erotic educational seminars, and luxury adults only vacations. So I curate every product on the site. We started literally with 4 products almost 9 years ago. It'll be 9 years, October 15th, I believe it is. And now we have over 1,100 products representing more than 200 brands, and we ship worldwide. And everything is chemical free. We look to work with brands that don't test on animals. We look to work with brands that are, contributing to the community in some way, like all of our condom brands contribute to countries that are underdeveloped and having issues with AIDS. Every time you buy a condom or a box of condoms, they donate condoms. So lubricant companies that work with, that donate things like to Planned Parenthood and other organizations. So, so that's what I do. I'm not a therapist. I am a sex goddess and an erotic educator. I do coach, though I do offer Q&A sessions for people if they want to, whether it's looking for a toy and trying to find the right toy or the right lubricant, or they just want to have someone to talk to because they are opening up their relationship for the first time, or they're thinking about opening their relationship, or how do I tell my partner that I'm bi? And I had a lot of conversations during COVID and a lot of Q&A sessions with people who were literally trapped in other parts of the world away from their partners and took the opportunity to go, I got to tell them. How do I tell them, And so I offer that because having had what I consider a successful 25-year marriage, that was both ethically monogamous as well as ethically non-monogamous, and then being open, poly, swing, and kinky and having experiences in all of those, I do have something to offer people who are they just need someone to kind of talk to. So, but again, I don't do therapy. So if you tell me your dick doesn't get hard because you can't get out of your head, I can help you with that. But if you tell me your dick gets hard because of the trauma from your father, I'm going to send you to somebody else. I'm going to stay in my lane. So there that is.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. It's important work, that almost that peer support role that I've gone through it. Let's talk about what you're going through because I understand you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, because, prior to this, I did 15 years of corporate training. So I did trainings in communications and negotiations, conflict resolution, management and leadership styles for new managers. So helping people with how to communicate well, how to listen effectively and actively is also something that I could help with, which the boyfriends like sometimes and sometimes not, because I'm like, that's not how you say that. You go back to her and you have a different conversation. They're like, damn it. So.
Well, but you're protecting yourself there, right? Like you said, if in that instance, that's going to damage the relationship between his wife and you, because now she has this distorted reality that you're forcing this guy to sleep with you when he doesn't want to sleep with you. Like you can't be doing that.
Yeah. And even the boyfriend I had down in Florida, I came down for a weekend or something. And then I met one of his other girlfriends. And then he was like, oh, well, don't tell her that you're staying at my house this weekend. I'm like, what? And we had been dating like over a year, and she knew me and I knew her. But after the weekend was over, because I wasn't going to have the conversation ahead of time and then fuck up my getting good dick over the weekend. So I said to him, I'm nobody's secret. Where does she think I'm staying when I come down? He goes, well, she doesn't really want anyone to spend the night. You don't live together, first of all. Second of all, I'm nobody's secret. And what if I had just accidentally said to her, oh, yeah, girl, after tonight, I'm going to be staying at, dude's house. Don't want to call him out here in line on the podcast. And I would have messed up everything for you and caused drama for you unintentionally. And I don't want to cause drama for you. I want your relationship to be good with her and good with me. But if you don't want to tell her that I stay with you, then we don't need to date, because I'm nobody's secret. My husband knows I'm here sleeping with you. And he and I live together. This girl doesn't even live with you. And so the next time we spoke, he was like, I told her that you stay with me. without me having to prod him to go, did you ever have the, he said, no, I told her. And so he did, and she was fine. But you know what I mean? It's, again, having the tough conversations and then saying, instead, these are my boundaries. I'm nobody's secret. For me, I'm not going to pretend to be somebody I'm not. Either we're in this relationship or we're not. You know? So.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, Taylor, thank you so much for everything today. It's been a wonderful conversation, and I hope it's not the last time we have you on the show, because I feel like there's so much here to still. Yeah, I feel like there's so much more we could talk about, and it was just a really fun conversation today. So thank you, and
appreciate all the work that you do as well,
for sure.
and for reaching out to us. And we just, we can't wait to get this out there and continue seeing what we can coordinate and build together.
Oh, I would. Oh, wait. You know what? I didn't think about this. Shoot. Should I do to give you like a coupon code for your listeners?
Yep, we'll do that. And we don't have to decide what it is now, but the listeners now know that in the show notes, there's going to be a discount code for checking out Organic Loven. And and I'll say one thing that's kind of cool. People listening, I can't promise which order these 2 episodes came out, but like an hour ago, we just hung up with Wendy, who's the founder of Good Clean Love, and Good Clean Love is one of my first lubricants and one of my number one selling lubricants. It is the one I recommend most for women who are sensitive, and great stuff. Love the line. Absolutely one of the best. I love it. I love when there's that symbiosis,
right?
Sort of just by happenstance. So I had seen that on your website before we started talking, and I was like, man, this is great. So I love it, and I hope people go check it out and check out your work and support all you do. So thank you again for being here and for sharing with us.
Thank you so much for having me. Sorry, my dogs were acting up. Biting my
ear. No worries. Well,
thank you.
You have a fantastic day. Enjoy Mexico and take care.
Thank you. You too.
And we're back. Thank you, Taylor, for sharing your amazing story, for being a badass human.
Yeah, and for all of the work you do in putting out amazing content and amazing products for people to, maybe be their own sex goddesses.
Right?
Yes. I'm going to be a sex goddess.
We both can.
I submitted my application to the the board of directors for sex goddesses. I just
making stuff up.
Just making shit up. Anyway, I'm hoping to get an honorary sex goddess degree.
Okay.
I don't know how I do that. You know, fun fact.
What?
For anybody listening, they're going to learn a fun fact about me.
Okay. Fun fact.
Legally, I was a female until I was 16.
That's true. On your birth certificate.
My birth certificate said I was 16. No, it didn't. This baby is 16 years old. It said I was a female until I had to get my passport when I turned 16. And when I went down to give the change, you know what they did? They said they needed proof.
So did you give them proof?
No, they could tell. I was wearing...
Anyway, we just went down the rabbit hole of little known facts about fins.
That's true.
Thank you again, Taylor. Back on Taylor. For coming on and sharing your story, and for, as Finn said, all the amazing work that you do.
Yeah, links are in the show notes to find her website and the discount code as well. Definitely check it out. Definitely get your lube on. And yeah, thank you for supporting her work and being awesome.
A few quick reminders. First up, virtual meet and greet coming up November 30th. Sign up on our website. These are open to anyone. You just must be open-minded and respectful. Also on our website, grab a shirt or a sweatshirt. You can find Give Love sweatshirts and shirts there. They're super awesome. We'd highly encourage you to check them out. And finally, there's the intimacy workshop coming up on December 3rd, run by previous guests of ours who are on episode 8 and episode 19, respectively. We're super excited about this event. You can sign up on our website as well. And don't forget to use the code Emma for a few bucks off.
And I believe that is it. Next week, we have another super fun conversation.
Always.
With Elizabeth.
Yep.
And we will see you all in a week for that. And until then, you go have an excellent weekend. Get yourself some STI testing, maybe a shirt, some intimacy.
Yeah, why not?
Do it.
Get it all.
Get it all. Give it all. You weren't expecting that.
Anyway, I was like,
you gotta come prepared.
I have all these comments, and then I'm like, no, I don't. No.
Why do I hold back any of my comments?
It's true. Anyway,
now you got to share at least one of them.
I think that's it.
All right. Next week we're going to do a special episode with just Emma's comments, so tune in for that.
Oh boy. Okay.
That's only for the premium subscribers.
Thank you, everyone, for making it through to end. Wow. Thank you, everyone, for making it through to the end of this interview, end of this episode. And I think that's it.
I sure hope so.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.